Welcome everybody to the next episode of KapVista Klips. Today is a bit of a different one. We are joined by Alec from Firstbase. Now, I have used Firstbase to set up my US entity. I have advised, I'd say about 50 or 60 different startups so far to use Firstbase because I found the process incredibly simple, easy to use, and hassle-free. So I wanted to bring him on, and he can talk about how he can help startups across the globe set up in the US. So welcome. Thanks for jumping on.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. And thank you for your continued support of Firstbase.
Yeah.
I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I don't know, I can't remember how I came across Firstbase, but I'm glad I did because the process was super simple. I was kept up to date the whole time. They did everything for me, even a bank account. So yeah, from a non-US resident or someone that's not even in the country that's looking to do business in the US and grow in the US, it was just a very simple procedure. So before we get into all that, tell us a bit about you. You're in the startup space, helping companies scale. How did you get here?
Yeah, great question. So I worked at a business called Kodat. We were an API that fed small business data to banks. So you could connect your QuickBooks or accounting, banking, and it would auto-populate loan origination systems. I worked on the growth team there, where I focused on full cycle sales for pre-seed and seed businesses. Doing that is when I decided that, I'm absolutely in my next endeavor going to work with startups. I love how dynamic startups are. I love the variety of startups. I love the energy and the drive of startups to succeed. And, I wanted to surround myself with that by working at a startup that focuses on startups.
Awesome. So you got the bug like everybody else did. I'm naturally inquisitive, by nature. That's what I do. I love to find out what the latest and greatest, technology is, and I like to speak to people. So I think you and I are the same, where, we scratch that itch dealing with, 50 different companies a day and, seeing, the difference, seeing people doing cool shit.
I would have to agree. It's not something I would ever get tired of because it's the most dynamic thing in the world.
Yeah. So you found yourself, in this startup space. Your eyes have been opened up to the world of possibilities, and you want to help. So tell us how, Firstbase. Well, firstly, introduce us to Firstbase.
Yeah, no, of course. So I am a growth manager here at Firstbase. I focus strictly on venture partnerships. So it could be VCs, incubators, accelerators. A lot of government agencies have kind of their own incubator accelerator. So we work there as well. And within that, there's I would say about 80% of our businesses are global. So that's really just outside of the United States. Whether it would be setting up a program with an incubator or an accelerator to make sure all businesses that come through get a Delaware C Corp for possible funding, automating their compliance so they're always in good standing with the government, providing businesses a US mail address. That's kind of where Firstbase lives in the inception phase. Firstbase as a whole. So we went through Y Combinator in winter of 21. Our founder is from Eastern Europe. This is a business that was born out of a need. He wanted to start a tech company, went through the process, realizing how arduous it was. He said, "Oh, we can absolutely automate that." And that is what we've done. So Firstbase at first glance is incorporations for tech businesses. We did more Delaware C Corps last year than I believe any external partner. And in the venture world, we know, Delaware C Corps are the holy grail. So we've done it. Our expertise is there. We now incorporate businesses in 27 states, most popular being Delaware, of course, Wyoming, number 2, Texas, New York, California. A couple that are incredibly shocking by their popularity would be Alaska and South Dakota, but they are rather tax advantageous. So that is Firstbase on an incorporation side. We also act as the registered agent. So we have 2 products there. We can be a registered agent, and we'll send you reminders when you have things due. Or we have an autopilot product that will auto-file your franchise tax fees, auto-file your annual reports, and then we have self-serve tax tools like these numbers, they always get away from me. It is the 1120 and the 5472. I don't know how I pulled that one out, but for businesses that operate outside of the United States, oftentimes they're either setting up an entity in the United States because they're preparing to raise money, they are in talks to raise money, they are ready to start trading in the United States, or they're doing some type of currency arbitrage. Setting up an entity with Firstbase to do any of those things is one. Excuse me. The self-serve tax tool serves the businesses that aren't really trading, but they're ready to raise money, or it serves the businesses that are raising money, but again, there isn't a ton of trading. When it comes to either doing some type of currency arbitrage or you're actually trading in the United States, you're probably going to want an accountant or a bookkeeper. And so that's where Firstbase, we actually just launched our own native accounting product with a bookkeeper. And on top of that, there is a CPA that'll file your taxes for you.
Wow, that's incredible, because
it's great.
Who's had to employ a CPA to do that, incredibly difficult from the other side of the world.
Yeah, you could not have said it better. And that is, the Firstbase mission is to be kind of the operating system for tech businesses all over the world. And, step 1 is the incorporation, registered agent, US mail address if you don't have one. So those are the 3 things you need to operate as an entity in good standing. That second step is when businesses are trading and they're operating in the US, on a consistent basis. Accounting is the first thing we'll offer. Coming soon, we have a banking product with corporate cards and a digital payroll platform. And that's kind of phase 2 as our businesses grow with us. They're starting to need these software.
Yeah. So what you're providing is a platform to make doing business and operating in the US much easier for companies who are looking to scale to much larger markets, right? And that's really crucial for companies who are based in Australia and New Zealand, because our markets are just way too small to make an impact. So from day one, our founders are looking at Australia and New Zealand as a test market, proving ourselves here, and then scaling to much, much bigger markets. And in order to do so, we need the frameworks and, the partners like Firstbase to be able to get to the much larger market. So what you're doing is a invaluable service to help the ecosystem that is startups in this side of the world grow. But not only that, we work with a lot of UK and European based startups who are looking to head to the US as well. I mean, it is the main startup market. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to grow with Firstbase as well.
Yeah, likewise. I working with the APAC market is awesome, because there's a ton of businesses that, I know I'll get to see turn into the next Xero or the next MyOb, and I'm like, wow, they came through Firstbase. That's pretty great.
Yeah. In the next 5 to 10 years, you'll see a lot of companies, especially from this side of the planet, heading to the US and be like, oh, I remember those guys. I spoke to those guys. I remember them because, I mean, we have a incredible startup ecosystem on this side of the planet, and the spotlight is
One of
just
the best.
yeah, the spotlight's just not being shown on us yet, but we're starting to get there. I mean, Canva and Atlassian are both Australian companies. Xero is a Kiwi company. You know, we've got some pretty sizable companies that are making, you know, global headlines that are being established in our small market.
No question.
Yeah, so it's exciting. So what is it that you know you would like to see from you know our companies here? What sort of what's the right sort of size company? What sort of metrics do you want to see? Because sometimes, you know, the founders here will be thinking they might be too early to register. They might be too early to even consider heading to the US. But, you know, as someone who sees it every single day, I see it as well. So I know what you know, what I would like to see. But, you know, people could be saying, oh, I'm biased, or, you know, they've heard enough from me. They want to hear from you. So what is it that you want to see? What size, what stage, what is the perfect starting point?
Yeah, great question. And you know, I guess I got to preface with I'm pretty biased as well. But you know, I would say when you're ready to incorporate, you're always going to feel late. If you're ready to raise US money and you want to incorporate, you know, you're going to wish you incorporated a month before. Or, you know, if there's a venture, you know, that you're ready to pursue in the United States and you would need a US entity to do that, you know, you're going to wish you did it prior. So, you know, there's no stipulations on who can incorporate. There is one person founders, Series A companies, Series B companies that operate globally. But you know, I think if expansion is on your horizon, you know, I think it's always good to do it then.
Yeah.
We make it very inexpensive. And with our registered agent product, you know, we manage your compliance. So you don't have to worry about filing an annual report or if X or Y is due, because that's the reason, you know, it exists. So if expansion is on your horizon and, you know, you elect for this kind of automated compliance, you can kind of have that entity on the back burner, not worry about things that are due and emails from the IRS and the government. You know, we'll handle that. So you can focus on running your business and know that when you have, or when the time comes, that US entity is ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, from my point of view and from what I see, I think the earlier that you have your entity registered in your, you know, intended target market, the better, because it makes life a whole lot easier. And then, you know, as your company grows and you want to move out of the Australian market, you can flip up your company into the US entity while it's there. But it also, it's from a capital raising perspective, it's much easier to raise capital from US-based investors if you have that entity. So if you're looking to raise your, you know, your Series A or beyond, or even your pre-seed, if you're starting to attract US customers, it makes it a whole lot easier to raise capital from US-based investors with a US entity. So maybe the earlier the better.
I would say so. That is it's what we've certainly seen, right?
Yeah.
You get the occasional comments that are, you know, hey, you know, I have a big deal, or, you know, we're waiting on this check, you know, we need our entity established. And there's always going to be limitations from the government, right? So we'll get it to you faster than anyone else, but that doesn't mean it's going to be ready tomorrow.
Yeah.
So the earlier the better. You know, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know, I want to put this message out to all the startups in my ecosystem. Is there anything that you want to share with them? Anything that you think is worthy for them to note? And obviously, I'll put all the details below on how they can get in touch with you and how they can register through Firstbase. But anything that you want to tell the audience, and anything that you know you want to offer.
Yeah. So establishing an entity, and, you know, the idea of moving, you know, from your from where your business started is incredibly exciting. And, one of my favorite parts of working at Firstbase is getting to be a part of that. So whenever you're ready, or whenever you think you might be ready, and you want to take that first step, we can offer 10% off on the Start registered agent and mailroom products for businesses in your network, just through our partnership. And yeah, I'm excited. This is what I love to do. I love to see, businesses get off the ground. My favorite notes are, yeah, we signed up. It took us about 10 minutes and then we haven't done anything else. Like, is everything good? Yeah. No, that's the business. Everything's great.
Yeah. And then, I mean, my experience was, I think it took me 10 minutes to sign up. I paid a relatively small fee. And then I think everything was set up within 4 or 5 weeks, including a bank account. Like it was a seamless process. Now, I did mine 2 years ago, so processing times on the government end could be different, but it was a very seamless process. And the guys at Firstbase, kept me updated along the way and told me where it was at. And each time something was completed, I got a notification. And it made it an absolute pleasure. I didn't have to chase anything. I didn't have to wonder what's happening here, what's happening there. Everything was taken care of. So I had a really, really good experience, and that's before we even spoke. I mean, that was 2 years before we even spoke. So yeah, it's only gotten better from there, I can imagine.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and anything you'll need is so you'll establish your entity, you enter into the founders portal, and everything you need, your updates, filings, kind of ancillary software. Like if you decide you want Firstbase accounting, everything lives in that portal. So it really is a one-stop shop for global founders. You don't have 6 different logins, right? You go into Firstbase, everything lives there.
Yeah. All right. Well, perfect. Anybody who's watching this who wants to find out more, I'm going to put the link underneath this video. If you have any questions, reach out to me. I can pass them along, or I can connect you. It'd be great to sort of chat. But if you are looking at a US entity to help scale into the United States, Firstbase is where to go. So thank you very much for jumping on. It's been great to chat. Like I said, I've always had a really good experience with Firstbase, but I couldn't praise your efforts more. Like it's just been a really, really good company to work with. But thank you very much.
That's fantastic. Thank you for having me. It's a lot of fun.
Bye.
Take care.